There's something rotten in the state of North Carolina, and it smells like money, specifically Art Pope's money. In fact, Pope and his cash are responsible for North Carolina's recent rise as the poster child for regressive conservative politics. As the head of Variety Wholesalers, a family-run discount store, and the $150 million Pope Family Foundation, he has invested in an array of think tanks and advocacy groups dedicated to aggressively aligning the state's political terrain with his business interests. Governor Pat McCrory, whose campaign he bankrolled, recently named Pope to the powerful post of state budget director. Pope is, for all intents and purposes, North Carolina's third lesser-known Koch brother. In fact, he's attended the Koch brothers' planning summits and considers himself their close ally. In the world of Citizens United, Art Pope's $2.2 million may seem like chump change, and on a national scale it is. Sheldon Adelson alone spent $150 million in 2012. But in one state, that $2.2 million can buy a whole ticket's worth of legislators. That's the only way to push back against the undeniable demographic shifts that have made North Carolina a battleground state in the last two presidential elections. Now Pope and his cronies are fighting every progressive policy North Carolina has enacted. Their efforts could lead to a rollback of hard-earned gains. Conservative legislators want to dilute the influence of minority voters by curtailing early voting, ending Sunday registration, and enacting draconian voter ID laws. Public education is being gutted. Unconscionably, Governor McCrory has refused to expand Medicaid under the Affordable Care Act, even though it would ensure 500,000 North Carolinians. And despite a soaring jobless rate, North Carolina is cutting back on unemployment benefits. And last week, the state legislature repealed a first-in-the-nation law that allowed inmates on death row to challenge their sentencing based on racial factors. Without a hint of irony, state Republicans claimed that the law was unfair, turning a blind eye to the systemic racial injustice and inequality that plagues capital punishment trials. But Pope's money can't silence the sound of outraged North Carolinians who've had enough. The NAACP has organized a diverse coalition, all kinds of people, farmers, teachers, doctors, vets, to rally at the steps of the General Assembly in Raleigh. These Moral Mondays are protests against attempts to eliminate the fundamental building blocks of a fair society: voting rights, public school funding, access to health care, unemployment insurance, racial equality. The state legislature is facing 25% approval rating, which means their extremism won't go unchecked. Unfortunately, right-wing billionaires using their outsized influence to control states and roll back rights are not new. The Koch brothers effectively bankrolled Scott Walker's union-busting policies and subsequent recall victory in Wisconsin. But North Carolina is showing us that this is just the beginning. If states are, as Justice Louis Brandeis famously said, the laboratories of democracy, then Art Pope is a mad scientist, turning North Carolina into his own personal monster. It's time for everybody who cares about preserving America's democratic ideals to pay attention.